So it's kind of funny while looking up prison stuff, weird stuff. I thought, let's lighten the mood a little bit. Let's lighten the mood a little bit. In the way that only we can on this stream. It's a little dark, but also kind of funny, right? Which I guess that's life, right? It's a little dark, but it's also a little bit funny. So while researching prison stuff, let me find my notes here because they're extensive. Where is it? Here we are. Okay. I came across a website called meetaninmate.com. Now, meetaninmate.com, it's like a dating website for people in prison. So if you want to have a boyfriend or girlfriend who's in prison, you can be it like a pen pal, I guess, to this person through meetaninmate.com. And I was very fascinated by this. I was like, well, what kinds of people, A, would be on meetaninmate.com? And also, like, what would be the point of that? Like, you want to be able to say, oh, I've got a boyfriend in prison or I've got a girlfriend in prison? The site itself looks like it was made in the 90s. Like it's very, very ghetto looking. And I clicked around a little bit, and I started playing a fun game that we're gonna play tonight. So here's a profile, and you look at it, and she's like, "Oh, there's like just some like basic bitch, right? Looks like some stupid." Instagram filter with the stars and whatever. Almost looks like someone's shitty MySpace page. Renee Freeman. 02402940. She's in Dallas, Texas. And here's the funny thing. Here's her bio. This is how remember, she's in prison. She's in prison at least till 2030. And this is how she starts it off. Even in my incarceration, I refuse to settle. She's in prison. And she's refusing to settle. There is more out there. You're in prison. More oceans to swim in. Not for you. You're not going to be able to swim in an ocean at least till 2030. More clouds to sleep in. Well, I mean, your head seems like it's in the clouds. More energy and vibrations to feel. Okay, well, whatever. I won't let these walls keep me from connecting. If you won't either, feel free to contact me at secureustech.net or texasprisonphones.com. We'll get into those in a minute. Because I started to notice this thing where like they would say like, oh, and use these other websites to talk to me. And I was like, what the fuck are these other websites? We'll talk about those in a second. So Renee Freeman, who's in prison until 2030, and she was born in 1985. So she's going to be 45 before she's out of prison. And she's refusing to settle. So I was like, oh, that's kind of funny. Let's look at some of these other ones here. Oh, this got a kind of a weird name. There's a reason why a lot of these will have weird names. We'll explain here in a second. Cheyenne Richards. Cheyenne Richards 02163911 with an emphasis on the 911. She's also in Dallas. She says, if you would like to write me, you can write me through regular postal service or e-message me through Securus. Again, we'll talk about that in a second. Please check your email for my response because you will not get notified. I'm an open-minded. Now remember, she's in prison until 2036. So she's in there for like, at best, another 13 years, or I guess 12 more years. I'm an open-minded, fun, good-humored girl who likes to laugh and keep a smile on my face. I love to be outside. Well, you're going to have to wait around 12 more years before that's going to happen. Everything from camping, that's not, not in the cards. Barbecues, good luck with that. Or gardening. I think they probably have gardening in prison. I'm as much as a city girl as I am a country girl. No, you're a prison girl. You can get me excited talking about four-wheel drive and muddy tires. Or taking a trip to the mall. Again, 12 more years before you'll ever take a trip to the mall. I love it all. Guess you could say I'm the best of both worlds. Yes, the world of being in prison and being a little delusional about your current situation. But I kind of understand why you're a little delusional. So I decided to look up, like, if she's in jail until 2036, like, what the fuck happened? What did she do? She looks kind of normal, right? What did she do? Now, the first thing that came up is kind of funny. I was not expecting this. There was an article in the Daily Mail about her, but it's really gross. The headline is "Holy Moldy: Image of Jesus seen growing in home's moldy shower." So this woman's first 5 minutes of fame, this is not related to why she's in jail, was because that's her bathroom. That's her bathroom. Okay, that's her bathroom. As horrifying as that is. Owners of a mold-covered shower in Texas say an image of Jesus has miraculously begun growing on its wall. Cheyenne Richards of Splendora believes the mold is a sign of strength after appearing while one of her home's residents was incarcerated. Oh, one of her roommates was checking out jail to see how it was first. And another critically ill. I wonder if they were critically ill because of the mold. Quote, "People say your house is blessed," she said. Well, really? I think it might be cursed. Pointing out what she sees as a possible face on the shower's siding. So it goes on, and obviously, makes her seem like a lunatic because she is. And then you find why she's actually in jail. And it's basically what's the name of that movie where the heroin addicts in was it in Scotland, where Obi-Wan Kenobi gets his first real movie, Train Spotting. Remember the baby scene in Train Spotting? Well, apparently she and her friends were so obsessed with these moldy Jesuses on the wall, under the influence of lots of drugs, there was a train spotting baby situation. So, yeah, there you go. So she's in jail for the next 12 years for killing a baby. There was actually a lot of baby killing. That's okay. Well, I guess Cheyenne, or whatever her name is, she's off. Let's see this. Oh, she's kind of fat and gothy looking, but, she looks like she could be pretty slutty. She says, let's see. Well, let's take a look at her. This is Tyann, another weird name. Again, we'll get into that in a second. Tyann White. Tyann White. Well, she gets out in 2031. 2031. Let's see what her bio says. Actually, I almost wonder if it'd be funnier if I read this after we found out what she did. I'll just tell you what she did. She's a kid fucker. So Tyann White, Kansas woman accused of sex crimes with juvenile boys. Law enforcement authorities are investigating Kansas woman on child sex allegations. Blah, 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 blah. There, blah, 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 blah. All right. Anyway, she went to jail on charges of rape, aggravated sodomy, aggravated indecent liberties, and indecent solicitation of a child. And she's being held at Reno County of a bond of $500,000. So it wasn't just like maybe her boyfriend was a little young. So now that you know that about her, let's read her bio. They say you can't find love online. They say love in lockup doesn't exist. But I'm set on proving them wrong. I'm looking for love in all the wrong places. It never felt so right. I'm looking for someone to take care of me and who cares for me behind bars and beyond. A lot of these women, that's what they're looking for. They're looking for a guy that'll send them, well, we'll get into those websites, but it's basically, it's like, it's worse than OnlyFans. I guess in a way, right? For for a pen pal, you're basically paying for these weirdo chicks. Add me on Getting Out app. So there's a whole app. There's that woman. The kid fucker. Oh, what about this chick? Oh, she looks normal, right? She looks pretty normal. Looks kind of has like that mom energy about her, right? Kind of looks like a mom. Seems kind of normal. Jessica Robbins. She's in Tennessee. Hey guys, it's the time of year when things are hot and steamy. I'm trying to start my summer off with the hopes of finding someone special. By the way, she's in jail till 2034. So you know that all these people did, because for a woman to get that kind of a sentence, they did something. My name is Jessica. I don't do this type of thing normally, but I thought I'd give it a try this one time. I'm single. I'm sweet, sexy, I think, smart, very loyal, caring, and open-minded. Should I just tell you what she did before we go on to the so the I feel like you need to hear the horror. Some of the horror. All right, so this one. This one's pretty bad. This is worse than the train spotting situation. A Tennessee mother and her boyfriend have been charged with murder in the death of her 5-year-old son. 29-year-old Jessica Robbins and her 22-year-old boyfriend were originally charged with abuse and neglect after they told officers that their child's injury was from a fall. The charges were upgraded to felony first-degree murder after an autopsy revealed the boy had died from multiple blunt force trauma. Basically, they stomped their 5-year-old kid to death. They stomped their 5-year-old kid to death. All right, so now that you know that part of the story. I'm single, sweet, sexy, smart, very loyal, except for to my kid, caring, except for my kid, and open-minded about stomping my kid to death. I love to keep myself busy by practicing stomping. I read, I do crafts, and work a lot. I'm funny, quiet, but very observant. I love the outdoors. Funny how it's like there's no recognition that they're in prison. None of these women are like they're writing the exact same kind of bio that someone on like Bumble would be writing. Sitting in the sun and tanning. I'm not like these other women. I'm real. And then this is the oof. I have 2 girls, doesn't mention the son, no family, friends, or etc. on the street. Well, I wonder why you don't have any friends and family anymore. I wonder if it has anything to do with the fact that you stomped your 5-year-old son to death. I'm hoping to find someone honest, dependable, caring, open, loving, adventurous, and someone that'll stick by me. I want a real relationship. I don't care about your race or age. That's kind of funny. I simply want to be treated with love and respect. I enjoy being spoiled. I'm affectionate, and I'll give you all the time and attention. So if you're tired of those other lame women who don't stomp their kids to death, who only want your money and nothing more, yeah, I'm sure that's not the situation here, that fill your heart and head with lies and scams, then I hope you will take a chance with me, the baby stomper. I'll give you all my time and love and attention. I have an email on jpay.com. Again, we'll talk about that in a second. And it's aptly named jpay. Or you can contact me on this other stuff, blah, blah, blah. Come on, let's turn this summer into a hot and steamy one. So that's the baby stomper. Then you have this chick. Now, with this one, it struck me. See, this is before prison. Don't get me wrong. Chest tattoos, giant red flag. Especially when you tattoo 2 velociraptors on your chest. Not surprised that you ended up in prison. Okay. But I feel like at this point, maybe it could have been stopped. Maybe not. I mean, that's a big commitment. The dueling velociraptors on the chest. That's kind of a big thing. I don't know if you can really... can you ever really come back from that? I feel like that's the kind of tattoo you really can't come back from. Like, once you commit to having 2 velociraptors on your chest, I don't know... I just don't know that you can really pull up. I feel like that nosedive, it's the point of no return. Well, here's the after prison. You can see there's a lot more going on in the tattoo department. And anything salvageable is now a distant memory. But I also noticed, I thought it was kind of funny, that they've got video chat now. Oh yeah, prison's got video chat now. So prison has video chat, it has email, they can get MP3s for music. I had no idea. I didn't realize prison had become so high tech. Anyway, let's take a look at this. I wonder what she might have done. Right? I wonder what she might have done. Well, let's take a look here. Oh, she killed her mom. She ran her mom over with a car, killing her. She ran down and murdered her 60-year-old mom twice, not once, twice. So she ran her mom down with a car and then turned around and ran her over again. Okay. All right. Let's see what she, let's still give her a chance, right? Let's still give her a chance. Cecilia. Hello. Being locked up leaves you feeling very disconnected and alone. I'm looking to meet people who enjoy great conversation, love to laugh, and I'm open-minded and non-judgmental. Well, you kind of have to be. That's one thing that I found hilarious is almost every woman in their bio says they're non-judgmental. And it's like, you kind of have to be, right? You're not exactly in a position to ever be judgmental ever again. You ran down your mom with her car, turned around and ran her over again. and your roommate's with some chick that stomped her 5-year-old baby to death. So, I mean, I don't think judgmental of that. I don't think that aspect is going to do you any good ever, no matter what the situation is. My passions include music of all genres, nature, animals, arts, cooking. Oh, she says she's a veterinarian assistant by profession. No, you're in jail until 2031. Learning new things. I'm a movie and TV nerd, and I love to talk about the debate pop culture in general. I'm a lifelong reader, and I'm always in the middle of a good book, usually something scary or nonfiction. I value keeping myself informed, and the blah, 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 blah. And it goes on and on and on and on. And then here's where, you know, that they're like a lot of these women, they say this because they're looking for anyone who's willing to send them money. Please don't allow age, sex, race, body type, or location keep you from writing. It's a joy. Please don't think about this in any way rationally at all. Just send her a message. It's a joy to get to know people, no matter who they are, for what they are on the inside. Well, you're on the inside. I'm reaching out hoping someone will reach back. Please be sure to include your physical mailing address. Yeah, that's a good idea. So you can run me over with your car? Oh, boy. So, all right. That's probably a no-no. Oh, this chick looks kind of normal, right? And that photo looks like again, there's some mom energy going on there. Looks like maybe, maybe she's, I don't know, like a dental hygienist or something like that. That's the kind of vibe I'm getting from her. Oh, she's a surgical assistant. Oh, well, maybe what she did wasn't that crazy, right? I mean, a girl like that, she's all small and she's 5'1", tiny little surgical assistant chick. I mean, how could she have done? Oh, well, she's in prison until 2032. There's a red flag. What did you do? Oh, boy. Woman who shot at Pierce County deputies during high-speed chase sentenced to prison. All right, so this is what this little 5'1" girl did. A woman who shot at Pierce County deputies in 2019 during a high-speed pursuit in Tacoma has been sentenced to prison. Alyssa Chaston, 29, was sentenced Wednesday in Pierce County Superior Court for first-degree assault, second-degree assault, attempting to elude and pursuing police vehicle. She pleaded guilty to the crimes in February. Superior Court Judge Susan Adams ordered Chaston to spend 13 years and 6 months in prison. That's within the standard sentencing range for defendants tried in similar cases. The woman was one of the 2 people charged following the October 4th, blah, 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 blah. All right, so here's what she did. Pierce County deputies used a maneuver to try to stop a car. And then, let's see here. All right, let me get back to it. I went too far ahead. Blah, 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 blah. The pursuit began around 2:30 a.m., so she was probably high out of her fucking mind. After a state trooper tried to pull over Chaston, who had a warrant out for her arrest. During the subsequent chase, Chaston drove into oncoming traffic, reached speeds of over 100 miles an hour. That's not all. She then allegedly told the passenger in the car to hold the wheel while she shot 2 handguns through her back window at the cop cars. This chick right here. That chick right there did the double-fisted shooting out the back window of her car while going 100 miles an hour while the passenger was steering the car. Let's see what she... Probably high as a kite, obviously. Hello, my name is Alyssa, and I am hoping to meet friends to correspond with. Communicating with others on the outside will bring light in this dark place. Being incarcerated has helped me examine myself. Oh, was that the wake-up call you needed? Yeah, maybe shooting out my back window, double-fisted blamming at the cops. Maybe that was... I didn't know before I went to jail. I was really kind of on the fence about whether or not that was out of line. But now that I've had some time to think about it, I'm like, maybe that was a bad idea. Maybe that was a bad idea. Being incarcerated has helped me examine myself and learn from my mistakes. Yeah, well, okay. I never really realized the value of freedom until I came to prison. I enjoy reading, music, fitness, and learning new things. I'm currently in school, furthering my education, and growing as a woman to one day be a light for others. I believe in honesty, loyalty, and respect, treating others as I would like to be treated. By shooting them with 2 guns out the back of my car. So yeah, that's, okay. Now you might be thinking to yourself, why so many white women? These are all white women. You would think that a website like this would have an astronomical, there'd be way more non-whites. Well, that's because when I first went to the website, I didn't realize they sort it by who the people want to contact, right? So of course it's the white women. There are black women. There's lots of black women. In fact, it's mostly black women. And they're mostly murderers. In fact, black women murder at a higher rate than white men. That's just that in the United States, at least. I don't know if that's everywhere. Like this woman. This woman right here is a fair example of this. This is what's her name? Oh, that was the other. Chiquita Pfizer. Chiquita Pfizer. Again, another weird name. I'll explain that in a second. Chiquita Pfizer. Number 806242. She's in Michigan. Let's see what she did before we read her bio. Oh, she stabbed her boyfriend to death. She stabbed her boyfriend, but don't worry, guys. She's into white dudes. This is her boyfriend that she stabbed to death. This is the white, this is the guy who burned the coal and paid the toll. So she stabbed her boyfriend to death. Let's see here. Blah, blah, blah. Let's see here. What did she stab him with? I thought it was something weird. No, it doesn't say what it was. I thought it was like an ice pick, or maybe I was thinking of something else. Anyway, so she stabbed her boyfriend to death. Hi, my name is Chiquita. I hope as you read this that I pique your interest and that leads to you being curious enough to reach out. Here are a few things about myself. I am very down to earth. I have a great sense of humor. I'm happy and compassionate. I love to make others laugh. I'm loyal and open and stab my boyfriend to death. No, they never have that part in there. I can be a little shy at first, but then I'll stab you in the neck. Now here, this is actually this is even funnier than anything I could say. This is actually in her bio. I can be a little shy at first, but when I get to know you, but when I get to know someone, watch out now, LOL. I can be a little shy at first, but when I get to know someone, watch out now, LOL. That's really in her bio. I enjoy many things, such as reading, writing, puzzles, listening to God music. I don't know if she meant good. I love all styles. I believe when words fail, music speaks volumes, and so do ice picks. I'm also a Scrabble fan. Anyway. And then it goes on from there. She'll be out in 2055. 2055. So that's a good investment, right? She'll be like, what is it? 50 something? No, she'll be 66 years old when she's out. So, you know, worth the investment. Just ask this guy. So anyway, as I mentioned, there's a lot of these mentions of JPay and these other websites, and a lot of them are like this fucking whore looking chick right here, you know, just like straight up like, gee, I wonder what this one is about, right? Now, this one you do need to watch out because she actually gets out. If she gets out, her earliest release is in 2024, so she could maybe get out in October, it says, if she gets out on good behavior. Hey guys, I'm 38, blonde, blue-green eyes, with full lips and thick hips. Winky face. I'm fun, exciting, playful, and open-minded. You can tell me anything. I'm going to be doing some time, so I'm looking to chat with some very generous, sexy, and supportive gentlemen. See, even in prison, she's got the standards. Willing to help and support me while I'm waiting to get to a work center. You got to be willing to support her. I'd love to build great connections, lasting friendships, get to know some interesting new people, and if the vibe is right, maybe much, much more. Winky face. I'm currently at the Ada County Jail in Boise, Idaho. And then she's got a bunch of the gettingout.com and all these other sorts of things. I couldn't figure out what she did. I'm going to just assume prostitute. I mean, just based on that picture, I'm just going to assume she's a prostitute because she's not in jail forever, or maybe unless she's been in jail forever, but I don't think so because she looks pretty 38 in that photo. So maybe she's in jail for prostitution. Anyway, so I was looking at this and I was like, what's they keep mentioning like JPay and Securus and all this other stuff and like all these weird websites. Of course, I found some articles about the company and I'm like, yeah, this sounds like really fucking Jewy. I'd be really surprised if a Jew didn't come up with this idea. And this is Wired Magazine. Captive audience, how companies make millions charging prisoners to send an email. And it's not just a little bit of money. Like to send an email, it's like $20 to send an email, to give you an idea. And obviously the people on the inside, they're not making any money. So they're essentially extorting the families of the people that want to email them and vice versa this money. Now, again, I don't even think they should have access to this stuff in the first place. Right? I don't see what's wrong. I mean, maybe email, okay? Because you could always write letters from prison. And in fact, maybe from an infrastructure point of view, having email is a better idea. Because they have to go through the letters, right? If prisoners are sending letters and stuff, they have to go through. So it'd be easier to just make that electronic, right? So I can understand maybe having the email stuff, but having tablets like prisoners do. Prisoners now have tablets. They have phones and little apps on their phones, and they can play music, and it's this special prison stuff. But I don't see why they should have this stuff. And really, the only reason why they have this stuff is it's making people rich, because they can provide these tablets that maybe cost them like $20 a pop, and then they sell them to the prisoners. Like if you want your friend that's in prison to have a tablet, you have to pay JPay or whoever, or one of their partner companies, because a lot of this is all under the same mega corporations. To, like, you have to pay them like thousands of dollars to, equip them with this technology. And so they're just getting rich off of inmates having this stuff. But at the same time, it's like inmates shouldn't have this stuff. Like inmates shouldn't have fucking tablets and stuff. It's just like, it's insane, but that's what it is. So they basically charge them for stamps. Like they call it a stamp to send an email. And each one, like I said, can cost like up to like $20. They also, you can send them the money for, to use the commissary, right? So there's these little shops where you can buy, it's like, there's not a whole lot you can get there, but in prison you can buy, like crackers or, stupid shit like that. And so they'll charge you to send them money like it's PayPal, but like the fee to send it is really outrageous. And they make a ton of money off of that. They go around and they get these big contracts. So here's this from that Wired article. The company boasted contracts from 21 state correctional agencies, along with numerous jails and private prisons. It already served more than 1.2 million people behind bars. According to a document obtained by the Huffington Post, JPay reported a revenue of $30.4 million 3 years after it got those contracts. The revenue had more than doubled to $70.4 million. So there you go. JPay's technology hardly evokes a sleek startup. Instead, it seems more like a flashback to the mid-90s. To send a message, incarcerated people stand in line at one of the several kiosks and dedicated to e-messaging. And, they're talking about the to send emails. That's since been upgraded to the tablet stuff. This article's from 2018. I'll show you the new kind of prison stuff. Actually, I think I got it right now. In fact, it's another example as to why white people need to stick together in prison. Where is it at? Did I get it? Oh, I might not have downloaded it. I might not have downloaded it. Anyway, it's let me see if I have it somewhere, actually. Let me just make sure. Oh yeah, no, I do have it. So this is how prison shakedowns look today with this new technology.
Somebody grab it. I didn't steal your money, brother. Somebody grab it. I didn't steal your money.
So it's basically like CashApp. So now all they have to do, the black people will corner some, they'll get some white guy, beat him up, take his phone, and force him to send money via his little Cash App on his phone.
Prison robberies in this day and age more often look like this. Years ago, it used to be that when someone got robbed in prison, it looked more like...
There's a male version of that dating site, and most of the guys on there look like this guy.
Someone entering their cell, pulling a knife, or maybe just throwing their hands up and saying, "Hey, give me your honey buns. Throw the noodles in the bag, Buster." But not anymore. In 2023, people don't want your snacks. Everyone has cell phones, and the main way of buying and selling and trading amongst inmates is through Cash App. So now when someone gets robbed, they make them open up their Cash App and send them however much money. Things have definitely changed. My advice, if you go to prison, hopefully you won't, don't open up a Cash App.
So let's have a little look-see at JPay. History. It doesn't take long to find the answer to this riddle. JPay was started in 2002 by the company's CEO and founder, Ryan Shapiro. Oh, okay. So it literally is. Look, it's probably Ben Shapiro's cousin. So it's literally a Jew. And it's not just this company. This is, there's a lot of other companies that do similar services for prisons. And a shocking number of them are run by Jews, including Securus. They got in trouble because they started recording inmate video calls with their lawyers. So there was like privileged calls, like you're not allowed to obviously listen in to people's communications with their lawyers. And so they felt like they could get away with it in the same way that the federal government does. So the government, for those of you who don't know, people that think they actually have privacy in 2023, one of the things that Edward Snowden revealed was that pretty much every communication that's done digitally is stored away on a server by the NSA. Pretty much every single message, every text message. It doesn't matter if they have a warrant for it. It doesn't matter if they have they don't have to get like a FISA court approval. It's getting stored. So if you send a text message, if you make a phone call, if you send an email, if you send a DM, if you send whatever, it's all being stored in a massive data center, one of which is, I think, outside of Salt Lake in Utah. Now, the federal government will tell you that the reason why they do this, or they're allowed to do this, is they say, well, sure, yeah, we record it, but we don't look at it. So it's fine. It's fine that we're recording it because we don't look at it. And the reason why we need to record it is so that if we need to look at it, maybe to stop the next 9/11, we can retroactively look at all your communications after we get approval from a FISA judge. But we don't need the approval to acquire the data. We just need the approval to look at it. Now, of course, as anyone knows, and as Edward Snowden expressed, they looked at it all the time. There was no, there were no proper channels. There were no, and even if there were, like it probably wouldn't matter that much. They'd find some way to weasel out of it. But this article got me thinking, because this article is talking about how the company got sued because they were using AI to monitor the calls, and the logic they used was, well, we're not listening to the calls between you and your lawyer. It's a computer. And the data that it's gathering, we're not listening to the call itself. We're looking at aspects of the call that the AI is running through a privacy filter so that so your privacy is still protected. We're just getting data from an AI that's not a person. No person's actually. If you don't think that one of the first things that the federal government started doing with AI is to start pouring through the mountains of data that they have, you'd be insane. Because that was the one argument. I remember years ago, not too many actually. Well, yeah, about I guess now, but like 8 years ago. I went to some debate that was between a U.S. senator and some privacy advocacy woman. I forget their names. It was, again, 8 years ago. And I was there for work. I was there to record it and stuff for them, for a nonprofit. But as I watched the debate, I remember thinking to myself, well, the one thing that this senator who was very pro-spying has going for them is that it is true, like this was his big point, that, oh yeah, well, of course we can go through all this data, we can gather all this information, but at the end of the day, we don't have the manpower. So even if we wanted to listen to everyone's phone calls, you know, like all your little private phone calls between you and your wife or whatever, we wouldn't have the people it would take to do that. So it shouldn't freak you out, because we already don't have enough resources to go after the people we want to go after, the people that we have these, you know, warrants for. So it's not that, I mean, you don't have to worry about us going after you, because we just don't have the power to do that. I mean, it's so much data that it's ridiculous. Well, that used to be true. That's not true anymore. Like, at least at the time, I remember thinking to myself, well, I could see a computer looking for keywords, right? Like if you said bomb and Taliban or whatever, right? Then it would red flag it, and then a human would have to go back and listen to it and see, you know, what exactly did they say in that phone call? Is it a big deal? You don't even have to do that now, because now you essentially have unlimited manpower to go through and listen to every and all phone calls all the time, always. And with the power of AI, make some of these decisions themselves. In fact, they could start to look for patterns. Since they have all this data, right, of everybody, you could train an AI on the digital history of the kinds of people you don't like. Let's say January 6ers. Let's say you're the NSA or you're the FBI, and everyone that you arrest for the January 6th stuff, due to the Redditor crowd that's doxing you on the internet, let's say you go through their entire digital history, you recover it from these servers that the NSA has, and you train the AI, even though a lot of it's irrelevant, maybe. You know, like it's what they watched on Disney Plus. You know, it's what they ordered from Amazon. It's how often they used Grubhub. You know, it's whatever, right? It's just listing any and all communications you've ever had. And the AI looks at all this data. And the AI says, you know, I think I have found a common thread between these people. These people tend to like this. They maybe there's certain ways that they phrase things without knowing it. Subconsciously, the people that were in January 6th, maybe there's certain sayings that they say, or that maybe they all like the same kinds of TV shows or music, or maybe there's some other kinds of correlations between these people that a human would never have picked up on. I mean, simply because the data would it's just too much data. Well, now there's no such thing as too much data. In fact, the opposite. Now the only problem is not enough data. So you unleash this AI on the digital histories of all these people that you've arrested for the insurrection. And this AI now has a profile. The kinds of people that commit insurrection against the United States government, they like these kinds of music and this kind of TV show and this kind of podcast, and they use these kinds of services. Maybe there's even a correlation between their names. Maybe they all have white Christian sounding names. You know, maybe there's not a whole lot of Pablos, right? Maybe there's not a whole lot of Tyrones in that list. So one of the things that makes you more likely to be one of these terrorists is you have a name like, you know, Chris Johnson or David Smith or something. So now you already have all the data of everybody else in the country. The AI, armed with its profile that it's created off of the digital background of these other people, starts consuming any and all communications in the American public, of everybody. And what it does, it starts to identify possible insurrectionists or sympathizers one by one. You don't think that's already happening? It's already happening, I promise. If it's not already happening, I would actually be disappointed in the people I used to work with. The people that would this is exactly the kind of proposals they would write. They would write these big long proposals to accomplish something that solved the problem that the federal government would have. And I guarantee you a lot of if not the government itself, a lot of government contractors submitted proposals to create exactly the AI I'm talking about. And if it hasn't already been unleashed and developed, it's in development. And with how quickly they can deploy these things, I'd be shocked. And I mean, look, Torba's making an AI. A lot of this stuff is open source. In fact, the real problem with the AI isn't so much the writing the code for the AI, although that's, obviously a part of it. It's the data. That's the big secret thing, right? It's the training data. More than anything else, when you're talking about the current chatbot style AIs that exist right now, and by the way, it's the same software essentially that's making images as making conversation. You just train it on digital information, or visual information rather, instead of written information. But it works the same way. So it's already been mapped out how to do this sort of a thing. And they've been sitting on this gargantuan planet-sized pile of data. Because they've been collecting this shit since the 90s. And that's always been the thing that holds back. So like with Facebook, right? If you want to use Facebook's AI, what's it called? Like Llama or whatever the fuck it's called? I forget now. But it doesn't matter. The thing that you don't have access to is the data part of it. The big secret, the trade secret, I guess, is the training data. Google's AI, OpenAI, all these companies that have AIs, what they were doing to build those AIs, in many cases, they were running like third world country sweatshops, having basically warehouses full of slave labor people feeding AI, AI images and telling the AI, what the images were and stuff like that. And the limitation really is just the data. So, federal government has plenty of that. Plenty of that. Who knows? Maybe once they have it deployed, they won't have to rely on doxing Redditors anymore to make their arrests of grandmas for their January 6th insurrection that then forces them into racial awareness training classes. All right, so that's the prison sex edition. Might have seemed like it was all over the place for a little bit there, but I told what I told you I would do, but I didn't tell you. I didn't really explain. I explained that I said rather, they have these really weird names. Well, the reason why they have these really weird names, here's the website, is I wanted to find some funny ones, but there's so many. See all these white women? That's because these are the featured women. So people are going after the white women, obviously. But there's a lot of black chicks. Anyway, I wanted to find some funny ones, and the method I was doing, just so it'd be easier to do it, I would look for, okay, so that's like a weird name. Jaslyn. So I'd look for a weird name so that when you Google the name, you don't find like a billion results. I'd look for someone whose sentence was pretty long and they also had a weird name. Because I knew that if I looked for weird name, long sentence, it would probably be in the news. So I don't think her sentence is long enough. But let's just see. She does have a weird name. Jaslyn Hedges. And we know that she's in California. But her sentence is only till 2028. But let's just go with that, right? See what Jaslyn Hedges did. Well, here's this. This is Pacer. What's this? Are you allowed to look? Oh, you have to pay. It doesn't really say what she did. Let's see if there's a news story about it. Here we go. She was arrested for possession and purchase and sale of narcotics. So that's why it's not that long. So she was probably buying meth. There we go. So she's probably a meth head. But if you go to the standard ads, it's like all black murderers. Like Shanta. What did Shanta do? Yeah, she's until 2035. So you know she did something bad. Shanta Henderson. She's in Rockville, Indiana. There we go. She murders someone? Let's see. Case summary. Okay, there's robbery. Robbery, something. I don't know. This looks like an appeal or something. I'm trying to look. Where's there like a news story? Oh, here we are. There's Shanta Johnson. Woman facing charges for allegedly stealing blank checks and cashing them. Well, she didn't murder anyone. She went against banks. Charged with 2 counts of counterfeiting. That'll get you. You go against banks. They tend to look poorly on that. Yeah, J.P. Morgan Chase told the victim the checks have been written to blah, 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 blah. All right. She's not a murderer. What about Quain? That's a weird name. Quain, how long are you in for? It doesn't say. Let's look for a younger person, 28. That's a weird. This is a weird name. Kahija, how long you in? That's only a year. But you get the idea. I would look for people that had weird names. Oh, like LaCrista. LaCrista's weird. How long you in for? Until 2030 maybe. She's divorced with 3 daughters. She's serving an 8-year sentence. Oh, she's divorced with... there's her JPay, if you want to send her some JPay. LaCrista Ray. What did LaCrista Ray do? Let's see here. LaCrista Ray. Recently booked. What is this? Public intoxication. That's not that big of a deal. Why is she in for so long? This site's taking forever. Anyway, that's the deal, right? That's how I would find these people. Is I'd be like, who's got a weird name? Monet? Monet? How long are you in for? 2033? All right. You might have killed someone. Monet Nelson. Let's see. Oh, she's on a lot of... See, there's other websites like this. See, here's Pentacon. I'm over 18, of course. Look at this one. She's in here. It never says... Oh, it just says if they're on death row on this one. That's kind of interesting. At least you get to find out if they're on death row. Look at this. Pentacon. You can go to Pentacon. What else is she on? Oh, she's on LinkedIn. What's Here we are. Oh, you have to pay for all this stuff. Wait, why is this? She's on a Jeffrey Epstein thing? Oh, this is what she did, I think. That's hilarious if that's what she did. Oh, no, this is someone else. Mom raises $600K for her own funeral after terminal. I thought it was like a fraud kind of thing. No. That's weird. Yeah, so some of these I wouldn't find anything. But you know, it's probably something. It's probably not super bad if they don't have it in the news, unless maybe she's just been in for a long time. Here's got another weird name. We'll try one more of these. Taisha. What'd Taisha do? How long is she? No, she gets out pretty soon. Delilah. Delilah, when do you get out? No, that's not too. That's pretty recent, or soon, I'd rather. Tyeria, whatever your name is. When do you get out? No, you get out this year. There's Renee. There's our friend Renee. Let's try a real roasty. Let's go to 40. Auburn spelled wrong. Let's Auburn, what did you do? When do you get out? Oh, I like this. She's an entrepreneur. What did Auburn Haygood do? We might be able to find that. That's kind of a weird name. What did Auburn Haygood do? Oh, this is maybe... What did she get arrested for? There's her mugshot. Recent arrests. It just says... all right, here we go. Failure to ID. That's not a big deal. Marijuana possession. This is all 2013. Oh, credit card abuse. She fucked with banks too. Theft. And probation violations. That's why she's in. So she was a drug addict, basically. So there we go. There's your little drug addict. Drug addict roasty. Let's see here. Who's got a weird name? Oh, Kendra's not super weird. Alma's kind of weird. But not really these days. Oh, Jamie spelled stupidly. She's in. Well, it doesn't say when she gets out. Oh, this is a weird name. Kyrian. She gets out pretty soon. Let's try Charisse. When do you get out? You get out this year. Let's try Shayna. She gets out pretty soon. Aila, 2027. Damn it, we need some hardened criminals. Jaslyn. Didn't we look at Jaslyn already? I feel like we did. Stormy. When do you get out? It doesn't say. Alexis. Anyway, you want to see what the guys look like? Swear to God, I clicked over to the guys, and I was like, oh yeah, these are the guys that look like, look like they'd be in prison. And I scrolled down, and oh, look at this fucking guy. Like literal Hitler. Oh, man. Anyway. One of these guys, though, I saw, and I was like, oh, that guy looks like a child molester. So I Googled his name, child molester. Like that, he was literally in for child molester. It was like, I just scrolled down, I was like, oh, child molester. Yep, child molester. Anyway. So that's how I was doing it. Let's take a look at hyperchats here. Dun, 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 dun. Nazi Dice says, saw a Matrix-themed commercial earlier, and I just realized that movie is about what the Jews are doing to us, and they're rubbing it in the Goy's faces. Everything in the world is fake. Propaganda to enslave the Goy, and the only red-pilled people left must be killed so they can fully rule the world through Zion. Were the tranny brothers that made that movie, are they Jews? I didn't know that they were. They might be. Who wrote that movie? Let's see here. Yeah, I think they are, right? I mean, they have a Jewy or it's either Jewish or like Polish. They're Jews. They gotta be Jews. Lawrence Luckenbill is one of their... Let's see here. I don't know if they're either Jews or they're Polish. Sometimes it's hard to tell the two apart. Well, mostly because a lot of our Jews are Polish. Yeah, I mean, it's... Yeah, it is what it is. Nazi dice again, and also the Wachowski brothers who made the Matrix movies are literal trannies now. Yes, they are trannies now. Both of them, somehow. Blue cord.
As far as I can see.
Have to catch the replay on this one. Stopped in to show some support. Thanks for what you do. Well, I appreciate that. Blue cord. Rabbit Hole says, Devin, please show the viewer your hands. Show him your hands so that you don't get made into soap. And there's like a link. I don't know if I can do links right now, man. But I'll check that out later. I'm a traditional Christian conservative, says shout out to Choli, my brother. Both big fans. Hey, Choli, play sound clip for faggots. What are you talking about? Choli doesn't have has his own sound clip, does he? Faggot! There we go. But yes, welcome Choli and traditional Christian. And I'm not sure why you would want to say that you guys were faggots. But there you go. Yeah, thanks for popping by there. Rabbit Hole says January 6th at 10D here. Well, I don't know. I'd be careful about saying that now that they're trying to put you all into jail. So make sure Reddit doesn't find out. Got me a visit from the goddamn FBI. Asked for an attorney. Didn't say shit. Boy, has my mindset shifted since then about the U.S. and what it means. Thanks in large part to you. How far do you think we've fallen from the founders' intent of this country? I think we are off the fucking rails. I think that in every aspect, culturally, demographically, even in the way that the Constitution's meaningless now. And look, it was inevitable. The second you change the demographics of this country, it was going to happen. It was going to happen. You know, I know it's kind of a little bit of a played out thing to say, but just look at Liberia. They've got an identical constitution and they're unable to maintain any kind of country whatsoever there. It's because, the Constitution is only as good as the people that it's organizing. Based in space with the big dick money.
Money is power. Money is the only weapon that the Jew has to defend himself with.
Look how Jewy this fag is. All right. Based in space. I'm a long-time listener from your days on YouTube. We are blessed to have you, Devin. I want to hear your take on Smedley Butler and the so-called business plot of 1933. I'd like to know if you could do a deep dive on that someday. That sounds familiar, but it's not ringing any bells. Let me look that up. Smedley Butler. That sounds really familiar. Smedley Butler, Major General, nicknamed Maverick Marine, blah, 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 blah. Military career, Spanish-American War, Philippine War, Banana Wars. Yeah, I don't know anything about this guy, I don't think. World War I, Quantico. I'd have to look into this. It's not. It's. I know I've heard the name, but I don't. Let me look up business plot of 1933. Oh, was this the? Was this the? They were going to have a real insurrection against what's his face? Let's see here. Yeah, they were going to have a coup. Okay. Yeah, you know what? That is a good one to look at. I will take a look at that. Yeah, there was almost an actual coup in America that no one ever talks about. I think because they don't want the idea out there. They don't want you to realize how easy it actually almost was at one point to have an actual successful coup in America. Yeah, I'll take a look at that. That's not a bad idea. Based in space, I forgot to mention the
Grocery store.
There we go. Rabbit hole. Last question. What's your take on the idea that the constitutional framers like Patrick Henry were truly inspired by the Bible, as the kosher Christian conservatives say? Or is it that BS and they were really just Freemasons in some aristocratic power struggle? I mean, I don't know. It's probably a little bit of this, a little bit of that. I don't know. I mean, look, it's hard to know. I know a lot of those guys were Freemasons, and I know that a lot of them were not. I mean, a lot of them were deists. They like to say that, right? They weren't Christians. They were deists. But the population itself was very Christian, and they would have to have known that, even if they were, writing something to govern them that they didn't necessarily believe was inspired by a Christian God. They would have to know that it would only work with the Christian population. So I don't know. I do think that people need to realize it wasn't just the myth that it was a bunch of farmers that were tired of paying taxes is asinine, though. Hammer of Thorazine.
Cash flow checkout.
I'd like to return this duck.
Hammer of Thorazine, I think the biggest FBI investigations before this was when they were hunting down communists. More effort into this than preventing the Marxist takeover. Well, obviously, because they failed at that. I guess it makes sense after all. Also unrelated, can you tell us a story from your bouncer days? There's not really a lot of stories. I mean, it's just like it was pretty boring. I mean, 99% of the time, you're just checking IDs. You're just standing with a big mag light in your hand, trying to look tough in front of drunk people, checking IDs, and occasionally charging a cover for people to get in. And you throw people out, but there wasn't like a whole lot of. I mean, it wasn't like super exciting. I did throw out a Bernalillo County sheriff at one point in time. We kicked him out for throwing a drink at the bartender, and the whole time he was yelling about how he was a cop and whatever. And I believe him because now, while we were pulling him out, we just thought he was just talking shit. But after we dumped him outside and right in front of where there were some cops, and the cops basically just said, "Dude, get out of here, get out of here." So obviously he was a cop. But nothing super crazy. I mean, a lot of the unglamorous part of being a bouncer is you have to mop up vomit, and like when the bar closes, it's not the bartender cleaning the place up. The bouncers have to mop the floors, clean out the bathroom. I mean, it's bad. Like. You have to put all the chairs up on the tables and stuff like that. So a lot of it's not very glamorous work. I'll just put it that way. But hey, it's fun. You get invited to cool. The fun part is after the bar close and you go to the after party, you know, like you go to the party that just starts at 2 a.m, you know, that's the fun part. A lot of more stories, I guess, like that about that than there were of at being at the bar. Let's take a look here. Brody says, what is the story of Classified Cat? How did you get him? Not much of a story. There was you know, he's a feral cat, that, someone found, because he was a kitten getting rocks thrown at him in a parking lot and, needed a place to go. So I was like, all right, you know, I'll take him. I didn't want a cat, but that's how it started. Yeah. I mean, I had a cat when I was a kid, so it's not that I didn't like cats, but I didn't actively go look for a cat because I wasn't home very often. But the girl that found him stuck him in her purse and was walking around like it was a toy. And one of her friends was concerned and was like, she's going to fucking kill that thing. You got to take it. I was like, all right, fine. So that was the story. I don't know, says this anonymous sleuth says a little focused violence never hurts anyone that matters. Wait, this anonymous sleuth says a little focused violence never hurts anyone that matters. Not sure what that means by that. Or what you mean by that. So maybe that's what your name means. I don't know. Rying simply says,
Heil Hitler, bitch!
Well, there you go, Rying. Seamus Goyenberg, okay, when they pull off the St. Floyd 2.0 this summer, we'll just pool our resources together. Patriots to get the facial recognition and an app to get all these Negroes locked up. It's probably part of the plan. Well, I mean, I don't know. I don't think that'll work at all. I don't. It wouldn't matter. You could give the FBI all the names and addresses of everybody that did all the rioting in the BLM stuff, and nothing would ever happen. Or for that matter, you could go to like the local law enforcement because the FBI won't even get involved in those cases. The FBI doesn't care at all unless there's a noose hanging from a garage door. Avdemat Kalishnikova, Devin, you said that it best, quote, we have to raise a generation of John Connors. Zog is far too powerful right now for any significant change to occur. A tremendous upheaval of historic proportions is needed to upend Jewish finance before we can make a big change. Great stream. Well, I appreciate that, and that is the way I view things. I think that we at least are in a position now, we have enough freedom now to raise the generation that will take care of the problem. And that generation needs to be raised. It's the kind of thing that you need to pound into their heads from day one. J-Ray, 1981, J-Ray. J-Ray 1981, come this year, closer to so-called election season. Get ready, folks. Mass censorship incoming again. I mean, it's possible. I had to cough there for a second. I was trying to talk and cough at the same time. Yeah, I mean, like, we'll see what happens with the alternative platforms. I think the alternative platforms are getting big enough to where that could be an issue. Specifically, the more mainstream alternative platforms like Rumble, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. They'll certainly want it. They'll certainly try. I mean, the SPLC obviously is already laying down the groundwork when they were trying to go after Odyssey, right? And, you know, naming me as the big baddie. Potato Mutt says, I wonder what prison would be like if you are a semi-famous D-list actor. There was an actor who helped his father-in-law burglarize a house in New York City, and a cop got murdered in the process.
So my limpness problem finally went away, and what I did was ridiculous. My urologist told me to throw all my blue pills away and just do this simple blood flow fix he recently learned at a conference. I even thought about changing urologists when he told me this. It seemed like he was crazy until I saw my tool with full force after doing this silly thing. If you're struggling to get it up or getting soft before you get to the best part, please try this just today and let me know if it works for you too. Just tap the button below and watch a video explaining how to do it. This will free you from the awkwardness of needing blue pills just to perform invasive procedures or humiliating exams. Just click the button below to find out how.
Process. He wound up getting sent to Rikers Island for 8 years. The father-in-law got life for murder. What, I don't know who is that? I don't know what, oh, I guess he's saying your second one. I am, of course, talking about Lilo Brancato, the actor who portrayed Matthew Belvaca on The Sopranos. He may have had some other role in some other movie or something, I don't know. Maybe you should look. Oh, I know what you're doing. Okay. Well, you know, probably eventually, right? Who knows? Maybe this week I'll have some time. Let me see what the name. Or I didn't know that actor. Is it the one I'm thinking of? Oh, he looks like a weirdo now. Why does he look so weird now? This is what he looks like now. Like, what's wrong with his face? He looks MK Ultra as fuck right now. That's making me uncomfortable. Okay. All right. All right. Milk Trucker was in jail looking at an old Negro mopping, wondering if I should offer to help, when he caught me looking and slapped me without a word. It was jail, not prison. 10 minutes later, I wanted to see what the fuck that was, and he was crying. He spent most of his life behind bars over child support. Hated me, I guess. Right, you were in jail looking at an old Negro mopping, wondered if you should offer some help when he caught you looking and slapped you. Well, I'm sure you don't just go to jail for child support. I'm sure there was, especially if it had that little impulse control. But yeah, you think you shouldn't relax around blacks in the public? You definitely should not relax around blacks in jail, because it's like they got all the worst blacks that they could find, and they stick them in a building that you're locked in. You're locked in this building with the worst blacks they can find. And yeah, it's bad. Rying says this is why everyone in America had to be circumcised. FYI, in Nazi Germany, there was always a 100% surefire way to tell a male Jew from a non-male Jew. You know, I've often wondered if that's why Jews did that when they came to America. That's why they started promoting circumcision as hard as and successfully as they did. Was that was a quick and easy way to tell if someone was a Jew, and they were worried that, you know, something like that ever happened again, they could muddy the waters by making it's a horrific. I mean, it's horrific that they mind fucked the American population into sexually mutilating all their male children, but I mean, fuck, you got to give it to them. They're pretty fucking, pretty successful at these little tricks that they pull. But yeah, I've suspected that at least had something to do with the motivation for doing that. J Ray, 1981.
Wise money management.
Where's the rest?
Thank you.
Thank you. I have always compared prison to in-group preferences. I know a white on my job site surrounded by non-whites. After talking, he showed me a swastika tattooed or tat and told me he did it a long time, or he did a lot of time. Sorry, I can't read right now for some reason. But when I brought up the JQ specifics to him, he had deer in the headlight eyes. Now he is laying low. Yeah, I would assume that there's a lot of these people that they're not exactly intellectually pro-white. I think a lot of these guys, especially if they're criminals, you're not talking about the best of the best, right? When you're talking about criminals, you're talking about the low end of the white group. And so when they go to, you know, they probably don't have a lot of intellectual ideas about a lot of things. Even that guy in prison that they were interviewing, where he said, you know, Louis Theroux was like, hey, well, why would you do that? Why would you attack me for accepting food from the black guy? And he didn't really have a reason for it. He was just like, it's just the code. We just do it. So I just don't think they have an intellectual understanding necessarily always of why they're doing it, which is fine. That's generally what happens. A lot of people don't know why they do the things that they do. They just do it because that's the way it is. Nazi Dice, never been